Hi there, my name is Desmond, and I'm an adjunct professor here at MTSU, and I'm going to help you work through your mid-state audition music for jazz trombone in grades 7 and 8. So, let's start with the piece Sliding into Home. Now, Sliding into Home is a slow swing song, and there's actually a lot that's not necessarily written on the page that you should be doing, and that is there are no slur marks or legato marks over this piece, but a lot of it will actually be long and connected. And because it's a slow piece, another thing you should really think about is your steady time. So when you play, you really make sure that you're keeping a steady and consistent beat and pulse with what you're doing. So one place that it's really easy for this to fall by the wayside is in long notes, long sustained notes, and in your rests. Now there really aren't that many rests in here. There's really only a quarter rest here and there, but that is enough to even throw time off if you're not really thinking of giving that rest its full value. And the same can be true of some of the long notes. Now, another thing that we want to focus on is that there's a lot of dynamic contrast, right? So you really want to make sure you're starting soft and then growing and then backing back down to the end, right? Now, in the middle of the tune at bar 10, you'll see the double bar there, there's a forte. And in this section, we kind of play at the lower part of the horn. So it's really important that you don't splat and really attack those notes too hard and let your tone suffer. So always lead with a good tone. Don't focus too much on the volume if it sacrifices your tone, okay? And finally, there's some style things that you can do in this that aren't written that might make your rendition of the piece a little more interesting. So take a look again at bar, let's see, that's 12 and 16. Now you should see there's a quarter rest, 2/8 notes, and then a quarter note on beat 3. And those 3 notes that happen in the bar are all the same note. So this is a great opportunity to actually put a crescendo. So start the line just a little softer and crescendo to the quarter note with the marcato note. And also the long notes really invite you to do something with them. In my case, on the long notes in bar 11, 13, 15, and 17, I do put a crescendo to give a little energy to those notes. But you could put a decrescendo if you think that's more musically appropriate. Although I think in this case, a crescendo probably is the right call. Finally, one other thing you can think about is at the very end, and that is the F and then the other 2 Fs. The F right on the second to top line, the same F, and then an F at the very bottom space, right? Now, you can employ an alternate position so that way you don't have to throw your arm so fast during that quarter note. So, on those middle Fs, at any point, you can feel free to do the middle F in 6th position instead of first. So, give it a try and make sure that your tuning is accurate when you do this, okay? Let's give it a go. talk about the second piece, con carne. So, this is a salsa piece, and it's a little faster. So, because it's salsa, you can play a little more aggressively, particularly in your articulations. Speaking of articulations, let's go over two types that are important to differentiate. Firstly is the tenuto mark, which is the horizontal line above a note. This means that you should play the note for its full value. Secondly is the marcato accent, which looks like a housetop. And that means that it's not only accented, but it's also short. So these two contrasting articulations are really important to highlight in your performance of this etude. Secondly, you should be able to see some similar things from this and the previous etude. Take a look at bar 7. In bar 7, you should see, again, 2 eighth notes and a quarter note. This is a great place, just like the last time, to put a crescendo. So we're going to start a little softer and crescendo to the quarter note. And it happens all over the place. It happens there. It also happens at the very end of the piece in bar 15, 16, and 17. And there, the crescendo is already written for you. But that spot, I think, is a very easy spot to rush. So when you're playing, make sure that you're keeping consistent time and that you are thinking of the eighth note. You are subdividing in your head. Finally, we can make use of the same alternate position to save our arm a big throw. So take a look at bar 9, 10, 11, 12. Bar 12, you should see a quarter note F and then a half note F down the octave. Again, you can play that middle F in sixth position instead of first. That way you don't have to jump from first all the way to sixth that quickly. So, all this being said, let's give it a go.